a small group of us were already interested in footpaths. So we thought, well, this is an opportunity to start. And so, if you like, some of these initial aims we went with the ideas, but they were enhanced by the people who came. Yeah. We've made contact with councils, with other groups, and we've seen other opportunities, and we've followed those through as well. All down to the initial aims of what we wanted to achieve. What our success was early on, we developed the schemes ourselves to a lot smaller schemes in Eastwood Park and little schemes here and there, and started on the footpaths. That eventually, by improving our credibility, got us involved, opened the doors on the larger groups of Derbyshire County Council, North East Derbyshire County Council, Chesterfield Borough became aware of us, and we were invited into stakeholders, into groups as founder members of connectivity groups for the Avenue Country Park. We got involved in those and allowed us to influence what the decisions would be made. But it's all being part of the big local being recognised, but also communicating newsletters that we do. And our Green and Open Spaces newsletter goes out to 300 or 400 people each month, telling them what we're doing. And that just said, oh well, they're there. Yeah. We're putting our name in front of people.
And that 10 years of big local also gives you you can be patient, can't you, waiting for these things. You know you're not going to disappear next year.
Yes, yes. The money sort of influenced them in the first place, but bear in mind that I think currently we spent about, there's the Green and Open Space as part of our budget, somewhere between £20,000 and £30,000, yet we've influenced or directly got projects in Grassmoor and Grassland actually installed of well over £1 million. We've been involved and we've been able to influence those. Some of them may have happened in due course eventually, but not straight away, and there's no guarantee they would have happened without our involvement. One of our first projects as the Green and Open Spaces working group was to make all the side public rights of way accessible. That involved taking out all the stiles, replacing them with gates, self-closing gates, cutting back all the vegetation, and generally promoting the footpaths so people knew A, they were there, A, they were accessible, making people aware of round routes of different lengths. There was a very narrow track, public right of way, which may be 2 or 3 foot wide and overgrown, with a wire and post fence. We, again with Derbyshire County Council, insisted on the planning permission for it to leave us a gap wide enough to make it into a cycle route, which that we could get down onto a country park that's probably a mile down this track, which is a fabulous new country park that's been reclaimed again from contaminated land. And now, instead of having to ride all the way around, the community can travel from Grassland all the way down, connect to the other cycle routes that we've promoted from within Chesterfield, and it's all connection. Again, we've got rid of all the stiles all the way down. People can access it by horses, but they can also get down by mobility scooters, prams, no problem. This is probably one of the longest projects we've had, 6-7 years of the connectivity meetings. If you aren't persistent, you don't continue, you don't keep involved with them and be proactive with them, then it would disappear, it wouldn't happen.
And that's also the beauty of having a 10 to 15 year programme, isn't it?
Yes.
Because a lot of projects are 2 or 3 years. You'd never see the end, would you?
No. We've been lobbying for a path down here for a long time, right, and the money became available, and we got this done from the first meeting, discussion about it. Within 2 or 3 months they were on it, and the total cost was about £145,000.
Amazing.
So again, from the bottom end to the top end, it's well used, and from our plans here, it's also in the walks. It's a round walk. You were walking along an area like that, which was dangerous. Yeah. It's a very fast road. This will become part of the cycle route, which connects through to the Grassmoor Country Park. Yeah. So it's all fitting in links. Yeah. And this was 100% down to us getting this in when they had money available. We stood above the River Rother on what is classed as a floodplain, but it was unusable for most of the year. Now I haven't seen it flooded at all. So.
And you say it's really well used by cyclists, walkers?
It's a major route for walking, cycling into Chesterfield from Grassmoor, from Hasland, from the south of Chesterfield, which we are. It is part of the National Cycle Route 67, which is a Transpennine Trail. We got invited by Derbyshire County Council to be stakeholders in the project. Working with the Chesterfield Cycle Campaign, we submitted this when we were as stakeholders as a key route when they were looking for quick wins. And the money was allocated for this very early on. Again, like all of the projects, it took about a year to get off underway. They had to get planning permission from Chesterfield Borough Council. It involved 3 or 4 different councils, but it was there. The money was allocated. If we hadn't have been there with Chesterfield Cycle Campaign, that money would have been spent somewhere else. One of the largest council estate in Hasland. This was in a green space that was there, underused, overgrown and not loved. We got involved with the Friends of Eastwood Park as a Green and Open Spaces working group. We came down, looked at it and decided that this would be a suitable scheme for development within what we planned. We approached for funding, first of all, Chesterfield Borough Council. Can we do it? They warmed to the idea. Oh no, not them again. They warmed to the idea and said, yeah, okay. And we eventually, again, all of the projects that we do with councils take time. Yeah. This project probably took over about nine months, a year to get off and running. We then went for funding from Big Local, the Friends of Eastwood Park, and also the Ministry of Housing, which the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, they were the key funders in this.
Is that the Pocket Parks
This
money?
Pocket Parks money, yes, it was the Pocket Park money. We got the full grant. Several other areas in Chesterfield applied for the money, didn't get it, but probably because our knowledge and experience over the Big Local term of applying for money, asking the right questions, got us the money. We got the full amount. The park as it is now is well looked after. The locals have taken ownership on it. They're involved. We involved them all the way through. When we were considering what we were doing, even though it was a short time scale, we involved the local residents, we got them involved, and they have helped it. They look after it now. It's a legacy project again. It's survived the test of time, and the local people have taken ownership of it. The main road, and across from the main road, is a small park, Winswick Park, which has served this very small community for a while, but now it's becoming far more prominent because we have a big estate with nearly 200 houses, families moving into the area. This was a bit of a land that they didn't know what to do. The neighbours wanted to buy the land, but we suggested it will be a key route from this estate to the park, and we got this path sort of built into the scheme as part of the infrastructure. We're now in a small park green space in Winswick, which is now next to the big housing estate and becoming more popular. Working with Grassmoor Parish Council last year, we installed seats and a bench as part of our sort of input into the park. This park is now extremely popular, and we've got other ideas possibly to develop this going forward, but we did install the seats in cooperation with Grassmoor Parish Council. They were installed by North East Derbyshire County Council. Right. We paid for them, we sourced the seats, right. Did all the necessary, but it was a joint effort. Every one of the green spaces that we're involved with are connected by footpaths, and the Green and Open Spaces Working Group have made those paths accessible. and there's a direct path here that can connect you to every one of the other green spaces. We made contact with all of the landowners so every footpath goes through someone's land, and they are ultimately responsible for the footpath's upkeep. We've developed a good relationship with them, and we've now got them to do a lot of the maintenance themselves. We're in Barnes Park, and there's a fantastic pavilion that the Big Local have contributed to so significantly, and there's trees planted for everyone who died in the First and Second World War, commemorative trees. But for the pavilion, we've lost a few, some have died, and a Green and Open Spaces project, which is now approved by our Big Local, is to plant 22 mature trees to replace them. One of the projects and one of our committee members is in contact with the local junior school to explain the significance of that and start a project, so they will include them in the project. We have the full approval and backing of Grassmoor Parish Council, who we've consulted, the past and present group within Grassmoor, all being consulted, and that will happen. We've also, towards the bottom of the park, which is a particularly boggy place, now identified as and recommended that we create a woodland down there. All part of planting trees. Grassmoor Parish Council very enthusiastic about the scheme, and we will be doing that in 2022. So that is a project for next year, where we may plant as many as 50 trees at the bottom end of the park. All again enhancing a park which is the centre of the village. It's and increasingly so. The scheme will involve creating wildlife habitat, slowing the river down, the water runoff from the park into the River Rother and the River Don. It will be wildlife habitat. It will involve Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, Don Catchment River Trust, ourselves, Derbyshire County Council, and a host of volunteers. We also intend to use and involve the local schools in planting, etc. What we do is publish the details, currently out to planning permission, and that will be an investment of upwards of £140,000 within the park. Further into the park there is a reclaimed area which should have been open to the public 3 years ago. Our group, the Friends of Grassmoor Country Park, part of the Green and Open Spaces Working Group, have been lobbying now for some time to get that open, and we're happily in October this year that will happen. We will be contributing to that by connecting footpaths to create a 2.5 kilometre round route, and announced in the last 2 or 3 weeks is that further in the park a memorial woodlands is going to be created, a COVID memorial woodland. From a park that was underused over the last 3 years, we have Facebook with 900 members, we have regular volunteer sessions, litter picks, etc. A car park adjacent to where we're stood now, we got that resurfaced and increased in size because of its popularity 2 years ago, to the cost of nearly £40,000.
We are responsible for the Don catchment, which falls everywhere from sort of around here in Chesterfield all the way out through Sheffield, Rotherham, Doncaster, all the way out to Goole. Right. And we do various different projects across the catchment. Most of our work at the minute is focused in and around Chesterfield, and I lead on the natural flood management work.
What's it mean to have kind of community groups involved in this kind of work?
Working with people like Pete is just a massive help to reach more people, and Pete's knowledge in terms of, you know, letting us into other networks has been absolutely invaluable.
There are other schemes, maybe £200,000 or £300,000 that are in the pipeline now that will happen with very little contribution from our Big Local.
Yeah, amazing. But the money gave you the confidence to start as well, didn't
It gave us the confidence and it opened the doors for us.
Yeah.
We had kudos. We could go and knock on doors and say, look, we are serious,
Yes.
and we're here for 10 years. So yes, without the big local, this path wouldn't be in,
No.
and all the other projects, the green spaces projects that we've been involved with, would not have happened, or very unlikely to have happened. And certainly the footpaths, all the footpaths interconnecting all of the green spaces we've visited today, would not be passable by anything other than the hardiest Ramblers Association member. But they are all accessible now.
Yeah.
There's never enough money in anybody's coffers. If you're there and you put in a case for these things, you can influence it.
Yeah.
And if money becomes available, and either they're going to lose it or use it, you've got a scheme that's workable, that's on the paper, it's on the list. If you don't keep jockeying or pushing, lobbying for it, explaining the circumstances, attending meetings, being on the various committees, then it'd never get done. This would have never got done.
You talked about lobbying, but it's also about the relationships you've built over time, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. I think we wouldn't be honest if we said it hasn't been frustrating at times.
I know
It hasn't been easy.
You've said it's been a steep learning curve.
It's been a steep learning curve.
Elaborate on
Yeah, we've been involved with 3 different departments in Derbyshire County Council, Chesterfield Borough Council, North East District Council, all on the same issues, the same project, and even Bolsover District Council. And they were around the table. To get them to communicate has at times been frustrating and commit, but it's worked. Some of the things that we've instigated and they've took on have been developed in other places too.
That's brilliant.
Not least of all, petanque courts.
We're in Eastwood Park in Hasland, and we're at the petanque court. Can you tell me a bit about how did it come about?
The Green and Open Spaces project that we started really about 7.5 years ago was to try and get people of all ages out enjoying all our parks that we had, the path systems we had, and an idea came from that there was a bit of spare land here which I knew about. Chris, who played petanque at another club in Chesterfield, suggested it. The next day I'd been to talk to Chesterfield Borough Council, come to see this little bit of land, got their permission to do it, and then called in Chris and 1 or 2 others to say, look, this is a project that we can do. We then went for fundraising to the Grassland, Hasmoor Big Local, Unlimited, Derbyshire County Council, and just about anyone else I could think to raise the initial cost, which was around about £12,000–13,000. And we'd got that commitment for money within 2 weeks. We'd got that commitment, including unlimited start grant for about £3,000–4,000. So
When you got that commitment from those different funders in such a short space of time, that must have given you a lot of confidence that
it did.
make things happen.
It did.
You're a founder member.
I am, yes.
So how did it come about?
One of the original founders. I actually asked Peter, because Peter was involved with Big Local and the Country Walks, whether there was any available spaces in the area that we could have a piste. Within a few hours, I think he'd spoken to Sarah, and he said, have you got a few minutes? We can go and look at somewhere. And he brought me down here, and we measured it up, and although it wasn't, we'd liked it a little bit bigger, but we jumped at the opportunity. And then we'd got to suss out for the various grants to get it set up. Within
4 months we had a formal opening with about 30 members. Since then we've grown and grown. We've extended the piece. We've The members themselves and Green and Open Spaces volunteers have put paving, we do our own maintenance, and I'm sat under a shelter that again we funded. We raised the money from membership, laid all the paving, did all the foundations, so lots of volunteers. We are full, the membership is full. One thing that we have found from word one, yes, we started off with for all ages, but it's transpired that the majority of the people are of retired age, and it's got people out doing something they would never do. People who wouldn't do exercise come along and enjoy playing pétanque, which is French bowls.
We come presently every week on a Wednesday, yes, yeah.
Right.
Previously, prior to COVID, there were maybe 20 of us here playing, but we elected to come as a small group, and that's what we've done. Yeah.
And what did you miss about it when you couldn't come?
Oh, the sociability, certainly. I could say the physical aspect, because it looks a non-physical game. But I mean, you have to throw the ball, you have to hold the ball, which is very heavy, and you have to bend down to pick the dratted things up.
We'd like to extend, we can get more members, but it's been a huge success. So one of the things that we like to think of from a big local point of view is legacy. This is legacy. It's here for future generations. Without the big local, without that sort of kudos, we would not have been, none of these doors would have opened up for us. Big Local's been instrumental in us being able to do what we've done for our two communities.